Hey, today we're going to check out the Helldivers 2 developer stream where they talk about Warbonds, they speak on the Coyote Nerf, we even have some conversations about a Frost Warbond, they answered so many questions, and even the Breaker Shotgun was asked to basically turn it into a stratagem. Anyways, there's just so much more to go over. If you have enjoyed my content in the past, consider tapping the thumbs up button below and the hype button. With that said, let's jump right in. The first discussion we're going to go over is the Coyote Nerf. As you all know, there was essentially a shadow nerf where the enemies are harder to set on fire, which has affected not just the Coyote, but it has affected other fire weapons. And here's what the developers had to say about it.
I mean, I could even drag that into a spicy conversation that maybe I shouldn't go into, but like talking stuff like Coyote, etc. Like, we didn't wanna touch the Coyote, and then a lot of players got into like, oh, you shadow nerfed it. I'm not sure if I should go into this, but I don't know. Here I go. I felt like the weapon also enabled that you could, like, if you have a incendiary breaker or like the cookout, you use it to put enemies on fire, right? Makes sense. It's also a shotgun. The Coyote kind of did that by one bullet and sometimes like two, and so we didn't want to touch as little as possible with that weapon, but without it being basically the cookout and the incendiary breaker, but better. So when it takes one bullet to put stuff on fire, it comes a firing click, and then it dies. So it's like, well, what if it takes two bullets? I guess it removes a certain playstyle to it that was nice, but we tried to keep it as intact as we possibly could. And I know some people got angry about it, but holy crap, we tried and battled it out. And I think it plays good.
So what I'd like to know right off the bat are, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's acceptable? Do you think it was an okay nerf? Do you think it was impactful? Just let me know your overall thoughts. Now, personally, I can't tell a huge difference from before and after the patch, but I know there are some adjustments. Now, should they have came right out the bat and said, hey, yeah, we made some adjustments to the Hive Guard, it's going to affect the Coyote and all these other weapons? Sure, they absolutely should have. Moving along, the second question has to do with weapons. How do they determine damage, penetration for the armors and whatnot? How do they actually figure that stuff out? Here's what the developers had to say about it.
Some of it is just like, if it's light or heavy pen, it's like, okay, what kind of caliber is it? What kind of weapon? Like, there's a fantasy tied to a weapon where we go like, okay, let's deliver on the fantasy and what it is and like what you would expect a weapon like that to be, and then you try and balance it around the fantasy. It's not like we just do some sort of spreadsheet balancing and that's like, oh, it would be light pen and do this much damage with this fire rate. Most of it is just fantasy driven, and then we try and like get it as good as it can be for what it is. It's not always as I said, it's not like an exact science. It's a lot of people in a room shouting at each other of like what is cool enough, what is good enough, and what is like, oh, if I take this weapon and I would expect it to do kind of this because that's the fantasy of it, and it does. If it doesn't do that, then it's like, well, should we do this weapon if it can't deliver on the fantasy it was supposed to be? And then when we just sit and balance for balance patches, it's a lot of times when that breaks for the community, as someone says like, oh, this weapon is like, I love the defense of it and it's really cool to use, but it's like, it doesn't feel maybe like good enough for what it's supposed to be. And then we're like, okay, we can have a look at that and see what that is. So it's yet again, it's like somewhat of a chaotic process, but it's, if you put enough competent people in a room that knows the game and cares about the game with the premise of like communities dissatisfied with this, and then we like duke it out long enough, we usually get to like a conclusion.
Wow, so that's the answer. And I thought this conversation was interesting because it has to do with weapons. You know, a lot of us have asked in the past, how do they figure it out? And now we have the answer. It's about fantasy. It's about debating with other developers. Should it have this damage? Should it live up to a certain fantasy? And all that great stuff. The third question is about difficulty. Are they going to add more difficulty options to the galactic map? And the answer is very intriguing. Listen to what he has to say.
It's not like we've said like, oh, we won't do new difficulties.
Looking to add more difficulties in the future.
Ah, that is an interesting question. So, we did that in, you know, Arc 2, and it might have not gone super well. And I think we also kind of realized that adding difficulties to this game, a lot of players wants to challenge themselves on the highest difficulty. So if we add a difficulty and it's too hard, like I don't think the community will be too happy. So there's some players that like, I wish this sucked harder or sucked more, and some people are like, I want to have a chill experience, but I also still want to play on the highest difficulty. So I think it's easier for us to, for example, have stuff like the Predator strain that is like generally a bit harder than regular difficulty 10. But it's not like we've said like, oh, we won't do new difficulties, but we have to be very careful when we do it, so we don't repeat prior mistakes.
So overall, it seems that they don't want to make the same mistakes. Can you imagine, you know, them creating a difficulty 11 and there's just so many enemies, it's overwhelming, and then you have the community or some of the community being like, hey, I just don't like it, it's too difficult. But again, it's a higher difficulty, right? So it's going to be expected. But with that said, it sounds like they're not going to increase the difficulty in the future. I might be wrong, but it just sounds like it. It seems like they're going to introduce different enemies to increase that difficulty instead. Anywho, the fourth question is about modifiers. Are they going to give us more modifiers in the future? And it seems like the answer to that is yes. Listen to this.
Yes.
Yes?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, give us a while.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
modifiers is a big thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
Wanting to explore that more in like as a general concept.
So it looks like we're gonna see some more modifiers in the future. And I just want to quickly bring this up. I think it's completely off topic, but they should absolutely create a Hive Lord mission. Wouldn't that be incredible? Continuing on towards number 5. This question is about weapon customization. Are they going to expand on it? Here's what the developers had to say.
Can you discuss that at all? Or will we get taken out for asking?
It's so the people expanding that would expand weapon customization, also the team that does Warbonds and a lot of other things. So it's all like baked into a question of capacity, and yeah, so we have a lot of ideas, but I can't say anything concrete about it, as usual.
Well, there you go. That's the answer, and hopefully they're able to expand on the weapon customization. I know I'm certainly looking forward to the Adjudicator receiving more options there, especially in the magazine area. Same thing with the Tenderizer, you know, definitely the Torture and the Crisper. I think those would be great to customize. I know secondaries cannot be customized just yet. I think in the future they might just give us that. I mean, they gave us primary customization, so why not secondary? Alrighty, the next question is about the break action shotgun. Are they going to give us a new stratagem like that in the future? It seems like it's possible. Here's what he had to say.
Many times. Still might. Actually, that's a... Do I have a pen here? I have post-its. Like,
Here's a pen.
Here's a pen.
Oh, there you
lucky.
go.
I can actually because I keep sometimes when I remember it, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta like have a conversation with myself about this, and a lot of times.
Okay, that was a great answer, but I'd like to know, what are your thoughts about it? If you had the chance to pick up the break action shotgun as a stratagem, would you use it? Or do you think it would be useless? Let me know what you think. Coming up at number 6, this question is about the future of Helldivers. Will Helldivers ever be at a state where everything is complete? There's no point in giving us new updates and just leaving it as it is. Basically, will they stop supporting Helldivers 2? And it actually seems like it's all based on the community. If we're enjoying the game still, here's what he had to say.
I mean,
You think? Feature complete. When have we ever said that, like, we're done?
yeah, that is. I'm not even sure that's part of our vocabulary anymore. There might be a time where like the game isn't that relevant anymore.
Yeah,
but
I think
we
it's like-
still have stuff we want to do at that point.
Yeah, we have so many ideas of things that we want to do and explore, and as long as players come back to play it, then we're gonna do it. So it all depends on like how popular the game is and how much you like it.
Well, if they stop supporting Helldivers 2, I think it would be amazing to give us the ability to modify Helldivers 2. I think that would be absolutely fun. Can you imagine doing that? Customizing a bunch of things in Helldivers 2, going to different planets and spawning a ton of bots. I think stuff like that would be really cool in the future. But yeah, that's what they had to say about it. The last and final question is about Warbonds. Have they ever considered a Frost Warbond? Here's what they had to say.
I mean, potentially. Like we haven't had any. We have Warbonds planned out for the sort of near to mid future that we want to do that. Sort of or like connect to the to the story in general. But I mean, I don't think that there's any one specific theme that we have ruled out. Boring answer, I guess. Very political, but yeah.
No, that's
Potentially.
okay.
Like, we
Yeah,
missed it,
exactly.
but like,
What do you want?
Are there awesome, for example, Arctic action movies? Like maybe not Christmas movies.
So with this conversation being said, I think it would be incredible to see a Cryo Warbond. Not too sure if that's what they were referring with Frost Warbonds. But man, can you imagine Cryo and Helldivers 2 freezing Voltless all in a group, and then just seeing it shatter would be just phenomenal. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the developer stream. I'd love to know your thoughts on everything we just covered. And if you haven't done so already, consider tapping the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, and tap the hype button. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next one.